Yo, so you guys ever hear that story about the guy that's trapped on the remote island? He's just sitting there with absolutely no resources, nothing going on, and a boat comes by. He goes, "Hey man, you look stranded. Can I help you out? Jump on the boat." And he goes, "No thanks, man. My God's gonna save me." And then the next day, he's still there. He's just a bit more hungry, a little bit more sunburnt, a little bit more thirsty. A boat comes by. He goes, "No thanks, man. My God will save me." The next day, the third day or whatever, a third boat comes by. He goes, "No thanks, sir. My God will save me." And then the guy ends up dying there. He ends up starving and thirsty, etc. He gets to heaven and God greets him. And he goes, "God, I had so much faith. I was waiting for you. I was listening for you. I was looking for a sign." And God's like, "Dude, I sent 3 fucking boats after you." And that kind of has to do with what I want to talk about today. So what's going on? Welcome to the Risen Fallen podcast. I am your host, Mark Hendrickson. If you're brand new to this show, then what you can expect is open and authentic conversations about things like mental health, self-development, and how to get your life moving in the right direction. I am a humble carpenter, home renovator here in Vancouver, BC. And I am somebody who really struggles to, listen to the message that God sends us. Listen to the message. If you don't believe in God, you can substitute that word for all intents and purposes with, the universe, the what people call it, Gaia, the Mother Nature. You could fucking put it whatever word you like in there. I believe in God. I'm going to use God. So for the sake of this video, you can use whatever substitute you like, but I recommend God. And so I am somebody that really struggles to hear the messages, hear the words of God when I'm living my life. When it's Sunday and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put on my nicest clothes. I'm going to really sit down, meditate, pray. I'm going to really just, et cetera, et cetera. I try and fill my mind of the messages of the Lord. Just tell me, please. I need the guidance. And I'm the best at asking, I guess, for guidance, but the worst at listening to it. And I really think, a lot of the times, if you're anything like me, God's going to tell you something, and then he's going to show you something. And, you hear, "Oh, don't do this. Don't go out and party. Don't waste your life. Don't do all of these things." And then there's people like me who think they can outsmart these rules. You go out and do it, and then you get shown. You're not just told, that you're actually shown. And so I am somebody who, throughout my life, I'm learning more and more and more to hear the first warning as opposed to needing to feel the lesson. It's one thing. There's a lot of people out there that are like me, that they can hear the lesson and it just doesn't do the same effect as when you feel the lesson. And so this week I'm a carpenter. Like I said, I'm a home renovator, and this week at work I suffered. This seems to be an annual thing for me. It seems like I am just accident prone, or maybe I just need to really take the message that I'm trying to see this time around, which is this week in avoidable workplace accidents. I was hammering a stake into the ground, and I decided, like a cartoonist carpenter, to just put my thumb in the way and just see, I guess, what happens. Maybe my subconscious was in another place. And so I absolutely obliterated my thumb, like completely obliterated it. Imagine hammering a cherry tomato, and that's pretty much what was going on. You could just kind of see the doctor's face as I'm sitting there saying, like, no, I did this to myself. Anyways. So, regardless, definitely a lesson I had to feel. Hearing it didn't do the justice, so I had to feel the lesson. And so, if you're anything like me, this is kind of a common occurrence in your life. I'm somebody that constantly needs these types of reminders to slow down, to focus on the task at hand, focus on what you're doing, pay no mind to the outside world, what people are saying, what people are thinking, what people are doing, what your podcast is talking about, what music you're listening to, what chapter in your audiobook you were in, but to solely focus on what you're actually doing, so that when you are sitting there doing something that could put you or other people at risk, you're solely focused on that. And I'm somebody that really needs that reminder of just to be more mindful and to slow down. And I'm a living testament to the fact that if you don't do that, you're only putting yourself and others at risk. You might think that by, thinking about something or trying to multitask, you're getting more done, you're getting, you're being more efficient, you're using the best use of your time. When really, the idea that, there's a saying, I guess it's a better way to say it. There's a saying, with the Navy SEALs. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And if it's good enough for them, then maybe it'll be good enough for me to kind of start to adopt in my life. And it's not saying to move at a snail's pace with everything that you do. Just the idea that, sometimes we need to slow down and as opposed to getting like a list of 10 things done and thinking about in your head, okay, I'm going to do number 4, 3, and 6, and then I'm going to swing back. I'm going to do 1, 2, and 7, and then I'm going to clean up the remaining items. No, the actual most efficient way to do it is just one by one, check each thing off the list, and then you can kind of sort them out through urgency or importance or whatever. But just this idea in life, the broader theme that I'm trying to paint right now is just that sometimes we really do need to slow down to move fast, to move faster in life, or even just to listen to what God is trying to tell us in the moment. Because like I said, if you don't listen, God's going to try and tell you. And then if you fuck that up, God's going to try and show you. And most of the time, if you're anything like me, the lessons actually have to be painful, sometimes physically, sometimes emotionally, sometimes spiritually, sometimes all three at once. And if you can avoid that, then obviously life is going to be little bit more smoother sailing. If you are somebody like me that sometimes needs to go through some pain to learn a lesson, it's not enough for somebody to just tell you. You have to actually put your hand to the stovetop and understand, holy shit, that's hot, and these are the repercussions, and I had to deal with them. I don't want to deal with them again. And hopefully if you're somebody like me, you can even learn from hopefully you can learn from somebody telling you the message. And then if you can't learn from that, hopefully you learn from actually feeling the repercussions the first time and not have to go down that downward spiral of repeating the same problem and process every single time. And so this can be upscaled or downscaled to really anything that you're going through in life. Like this can be, it's something where you can look at, just the example of working. It's like, okay, so none of these tasks are meant to be done absent-mindedly. There should always be a focus on what could go wrong and how you can get around it. And that's not to sit there and debate about all the issues and dangers and risks that can coincide with doing a certain activity, because then you get the whole paralysis by analysis. You're just like sitting there and thinking about it. You do have to just kind of jump in at some point, but maybe just pay some mind to what could go wrong. And understand that, you're going to get a little message or a sign in life. Maybe somebody tells you something. Maybe you see some warning signs. And that's, for lack of a better term, like I said, God trying to tell you a message. It's like, hey, this is just a little warning sign. This is just a little notification on your phone. And then you're going to get a little nudge. You step a little closer and you get a little nudge in the opposite direction. Like it's like a warning, like you're playing with fire. Do you really want to continue doing this? Do you really want to see where this goes? And then it's up to you to decide, yeah, I'm going to put my hand to the flame and see what happens. Or, hey, I'm going to try and learn from this message that I'm getting right now, this warning sign, and maybe some stories of other people that have put their hands in this fire and see how that turned out for them as well. These types of ideas and messages, ultimately we have almost no control over. Because, if you ignore the message completely altogether of, oh, you need to slow down. Oh, you need to be more mindful. You need to be a bit more present. You need to be focusing a little bit more on how you can improve yourself, your mindset, your way of thinking, your methods of doing things. If you don't listen to that message, you will be forced to listen to that message. And you hear people say that all the time. There's like this, the cost of taking care of your health, and then there's the other side of the meme where it's like the cost of not taking care of your health, and it ends up being worse. And these are the exact same things where it's like, dude, if you don't allow yourself or force yourself into the practice of slowing down and being more mindful about what you're doing on a daily basis, you will be forced to. You will be forced to. You'll be shown an opportunity. Hey, here's an opportunity to slow down and be more mindful. And if you don't take that avenue, you stay on the highway, you don't take the off-ramp, then you are going to keep cruising. You're going to keep going full speed into a situation where you're going to be forced to slow down. And usually with me, that comes in the form of physical injuries. That's just typically the way I think about it. And even the second I got this injury, where I'm driving to the hospital, I'm sitting there thinking in my head, oh, how am I going to take care of this? How am I going to take care of that? I'm instantly thinking about the work that has to be done. And there was a thought that came into my head where it's like, maybe you shouldn't be thinking about what needs to be done tomorrow, the next day, or the next day. Maybe you just sometimes need to be reminded to think about what needs to be done in the next 5 to 10 minutes. What needs to be done in the next hour? How do I make sure that today is used the most effectively before thinking about tomorrow? Because if we spend our whole time thinking about tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, blah, 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 it's always going to be in that, frame of mind. We're always going to be consistently thinking, tomorrow I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. Next week I'm going to take care of this. Next month I'm going to take care of this. And none of it will ever get taken care of until you actually learn to master the day. And learning to master the day, for me, one of the big windows of opportunity for me is always just sitting there and thinking, slowing down and kind of getting rid of those outside thoughts that are just distractions and just thinking, how do I most effectively do what I'm supposed to be doing right now? And again, it doesn't just come down to physical tasks. It's not just coming down to folding your laundry or manual labor or doing the dishes or anything like that, but actually think about the importance of what you are doing in the present moment. There's so many times where we find ourselves distracted. When you're sitting there and your significant other comes home and you have that precious 47 minutes before you have to get ready for bed or do whatever you guys need to do. Go to the gym, do this, do that. You have that 47 minutes and one of you's on your phone and the other one's just sitting there talking and, you're kind of thinking, oh, this isn't really that important and da-da-da-da-da. But think about, what are you supposed to be doing in that moment? In the 47 minutes that you get to spend with your partner, are you supposed to be sitting on your phone when you already do that for 7 hours of the day already? Are you supposed to be thinking about tomorrow? Are you supposed to be thinking about these other things? Or are you supposed to be living in the moment? Be present. Be the person that they need you to show up to be as. These types of thoughts, thinking, just, again, it doesn't always have to be a physical task, but just in your mind, consistently thinking, who am I supposed to be right now? What am I supposed to be doing? And how am I supposed to be doing it? And on that note, I think that's a beautiful place to wrap this up. Happy Monday. I will see you all on the last Monday of the month, next Monday. I love you all. If you guys enjoy this episode, please, if you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening to this on any podcast platform, please do leave a little review, leave a little message, 5-star it, send it to a friend. Do whatever you can do to help us out. I will see you guys next Monday. Much love. Peace out. Love you all. Bye.